Today I'm gonna talk about uh, schools and tackling college, uh, the other factors to success. There's always other factors that come to for you to succeed in college or training program, and often when I look back, I was often I had many people, friends at the time, that were smarter than me, healthier than me, and all this, but things happen along the way, and they did not finish that journey. So, before I start, I want to say college is not everything. Your worth is your values, how you treat others. So, if you attempt college and didn't work out, that doesn't mean anything. It just mean that you didn't work out in college itself. It doesn't mean that you are stupid. Doesn't mean that you know that something wrong with you. It is maybe you chose the wrong school. Maybe things happen in your life. But we're gonna talk today about the other factors. Let's say you are willing to study and serious about the endeavor. So let's go and talk about the other factors. I'm gonna talk about financial support. And financial support, you can say financial aid. That's one thing, and we are in North America, at least in Canada and the US, we do get financial aid. Some other countries are better than us in Europe, where usually it's free. Hopefully it will be free here at some point. But that's a big factor, because if you get financial aid, uh, financial aid is not forever. If you something happened, let's say you had a bad day, bad teacher, you know, you were sick, you and you know things don't work out, you fail few classes, you might lose your financial aid, and there where the financial support come in. And here usually it come with family, and I found many people, especially in four-year colleges, who really who succeeded, many average people who succeeded because and graduated on time because they had family support. And this is not to confuse it with my second point about family support. I'm talking about financial support, where like maybe they were on probation or something like that, and the family pay for the semester, and then they can move on and succeed and get a second chance, because that's what's about. It's second chance. Many people don't think about this, but when you go to college, if you take financial aid, there is not many chances. If you fail few classes, financial aid will stop. So that is one big factor that people don't think about. So if you don't have support, you really need to be very serious about your schooling. So because you can't mess up. Family and emotional support. This I wish I had that when I attended school, because I was a working man. I was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, and I didn't have any family at all. So that was it would have been really great. I sometimes I think to myself, oh, if I had that, I probably would have been a big shot by now. But it does help to have family support, to maybe live with your family, have somebody to check on you, to check if you are doing okay. Because in my opinion, there is like a two bottlenecks when you go to a college. One, in the beginning when you start college, where you just get overwhelmed, and maybe especially the second semester, where things will start to get serious, and and your stress, and especially as a young individuals, I notice they get stressed out, and I used to do that. And that stress will get you. It's not because you are stupid or anything like that, but that stress will amplify your anxiety. And in the end, and I had that in the end too, so where the classes are very hard, you need to graduate, and you just tired and exhausted after that journey. I went to to like science base, and I was so exhausted, and I still had demons that I'm not smart enough, and I wasn't real, to be honest. I was just average person, and but I wanted to finish, and I took all these loans, and the classes were very very hard, and that's the second bottleneck. So having emotional support was very very hard, especially if you don't have it. So it will be great, those two things, support, both financial support and family and emotional support, are something that great to have. And if you don't have it, what to do? Know your situation. So be honest with yourself. Maybe you can just take part-time, or two-thirds of a part-time, or something like that, so you can ensure that you succeed. uh, because something have to give. If you have to work, if you have a young family and all this, something have to give. Plan ahead. And this is, I know it change. That's very hard from school to school. Maybe it's easier these days with the online. Maybe it's not. I don't think it is. I remember so many years ago, you know, the school I attended used to have like a look like a magazine, but it's like with those yellow paper in it that have the classes, the list of classes the school gonna offer for the whole year. And I used to get them and look at them and plan and say, if I take this and if I pass, I might take this, because it had the time. And I worked in a factory. I had a rigid shift. I had a second shift. I probably would have never been able to do it if I worked first shift. But I used to like highlight these and plan ahead. So, and plan how much I have. Sometimes I didn't have, so I'll take just one class, and it seemed like forever. But then my job, for example, went out of business, and I was able to go full time after that. So like, you never know, but you just have to plan ahead and be your own cheerleader. If nobody's cheering you, be your own cheerleader. No, I used to have this book about affirmation. It was a small book, and especially in my end of my schooling year, like my last 2 years, my last year and a half maybe, or 2 years, I used to like read it in the bathroom, and like read it. It's again and again. It have like little exercises where it tell you that to look at the small picture, don't look at the large picture, so you don't have to be overwhelmed. These are very very important things, to not allow yourself to get overwhelmed, and do what you can, and don't think about the consequences. Just do what you can. If you start a class, you paid the money for it, or you took the loan for it, so you just have to do as much as you can. Other issues along the way, other issues and bumps along the way, the environment of the school, and that could be the teacher, that could be the structure of the school, the program, and the degree. Like, for example, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here, because if you have sometimes, and there are bad teachers out there, many bad teachers out there, where they might destroy your life. They might, like, for example, if if you take with a teacher and he'll just like give you like one of those beginner uh, like questions, like you ask you first assignment to tell them about yourself and all this, and you do it right and they give you a 0, that's just a bad sign. That means that teacher have a goal in starting you the race in the negative. So if you are an A student, you're probably gonna get a B. If you are a average student, maybe you're not gonna pass. Those things. And the good thing about these days, you can look things up. If you have friends, if you attend the school itself and you're young enough and you can connect with other students, it's good to talk to them about the teacher. At some point, if you find yourself in a situation where that teacher gonna be the reason for you to fail, you need to move. Don't take with that teacher. Maybe take the class from a different school, and so forth. You have options, and you should navigate it. Race will play with this. Religion will play with this, because to be honest, people with prejudice are not the people who just maybe talk shit. People with prejudice are like, sometimes they won't say anything, but make sure that they destroy you, make sure you fail and all this. So like these things happen, So I'm not sugarcoating it, but I have to say the truth, and I had experienced that myself. Choose the right school. I remember when I decided to go to school, I used to work in a small town, and I used to live a different town than the town I worked in, and there was a school in between, and I applied for that school, and I attended it, and it was very clear for me. The school everybody seemed to be nice. It was in the country, but the people were nice, but the school was rigid itself. It was not designed for a non-traditional student, and I was very smart in many ways. Now looking back, quickly realized this is not gonna work out. They had, for example, the classes you take, you can't move on and take other classes until you finish the whole full-time semester. So if you take part-time, that means you have to like take take a class, take like, let's say you want to take part-time, and that was why I was a part-time student. That means I had to take 2 classes. Then maybe if I was lucky, the next semester I will have 1 class to take, and so on and so forth. So it won't work. It did not work. It didn't give me any options. And what I did right away, the same school had a location, a different location, the bigger city, and where it was more flexible, and because it was a bigger campus and all this. So I decided add the drive, it was much better than to go to that school, and I actually had to change program too. So like, because that program was only offered in that location. But the program itself, 2 things I want to talk about it. I remember the program I attended, they were older teachers. They were from a different generation, so they were teaching because they really saw it as a sacred. They not like bunch of people who teach because that's the only job they can get. Because they were really hard. They were difficult teachers, but at the same time they were fair. And when I took like a chemistry general. No, it was general chemistry. No, I took general chemistry before that, but I thought, let me take into it. I liked science, so I took like the general chemistry and all this, and I finished my general classes, and it was time for me to decide. So I took analytical chemistry, applied chemistry, I believe, or something like that, and And I thought to myself, oh, you know what? This is like work. They like treat that program was small. They treated, they were like really hard and difficult, but and there was many things they probably was not great, wasn't perfect program for sure, but I felt okay. I was treated the same as others, and those people like knew about industries in the area, and they were teaching the chemistry as a skill, not as a theory, and all this, and they didn't want to be padded and like their ass kissed and anything like that. And I thought, oh, I can, you know, those are working class people who had it, who running this program, similar to me. So I end up staying in that program. The degree itself, the degree itself, you have to marry what you know, what you like, and what you and your abilities. If you are, uh, let's say, not good with math or science, there is no reason for you to waste your money and time trying to achieve a degree in that field. And I think most of us deep inside know what we want, but sometimes you have like a dream when you're a kid, and doesn't mean that it doesn't that dream doesn't really uh, work with your abilities. For example, I stumble on my words, and I'm not a very well-spoken person, and I wonder, I even though I like to write, and but I'm not like the greatest writer, and I'm a shy person. I can't talk to the public. So I think a degree for me, like in public speaking, or where I have to speak to the public or deal with the public, won't be easy for me. So that's another example. Work-life balance. We talked about planning, but also there is other things about when it comes beside planning. You need to balance. When you plan, you need to balance your life. Because all of us have limited abilities. And you need to balance your life with your energy, with how much energy you have. If you have a baby, if you have a job. I remember I had a job where they were so rigid with time and so rigid with mandatory overtime. It was I had to balance that because it was the only job I had with my work, with my school. So I had to take classes in a time where I know even if I worked overtime, I'll be able to go to that class. Now I'm sure it's easier with online classes, but not everything can be taught online. Health. I know most people, even non-traditional students, who think probably they are older. They are all young people and they're all healthy. But however, not everybody, even if you're young, it doesn't mean you're healthy, and you can be a real older person and going to school and not health. So you have to take that in consideration. So to wrap it up, just be your own cheerleader. No, be affirm to yourself that you succeed. Try to think ahead, plan ahead. Your school, your work, to have it balanced. Uh, Choose the right program for you, choose the right school for you, and if you go to a program, check that program out before you start. This is great because the last thing you want is to go to a school where you find no support, or you find uh, an asshole that will destroy your life, because you take those loans, eh, you know you have to pay them, you know you know and the most important thing is persistent, whether it is in the when you whether it is when you are in school, or after. You have to do the work the same as after you finish school. You have to go to work. You have to keep going even if you had a bad day. You have to keep going to work. So that is consistent. That is the main one reason for success. And even if you fail, you should try again and try again if you're serious about that field. And that is my 2 cents about it. And I hope somebody will see this and will benefit from it.